What's up, man? How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
Doing great, doing great. I got a little bit of a structure of how I want to approach this here, because you said you wanted to work on your timings, right?
Timings, yeah. Timings is gonna be the most important thing, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So it's going to be kind of tough here because we don't have a replay code, but I do have the overhead from yesterday. So there's a couple of points I just want to look at in particular, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, that's fine with me. Let me see. I don't think I have the
Yeah.
replay code.
So I think the big thing, I want to start with this composition, this fight here. I think the important thing that we're going to need to pull away, and this is something I try to do with CarQ and some of the other guys, is we want to make sure that what we do is that what we work on is sort of meta-proof, because we really don't know what we're going to be playing this next week, right?
Yep.
So we don't want to go into something too micro detailed. And I think this is going to be a combination of a little bit of macro strategy, timing stuff, and a little bit of communication. Because this fight, this was a depressing fight for me to watch, because I actually really liked what you did, and I even really liked our setup. But there was a lack of communication from both you and the off angle, and it really kind of screwed us over. So we're kind of splitting here. We're kind of ping-ponging back in there. We try to close the distance. They kite it out. Unlucky. That's fine. We get point control, applies pressuring point. Everything's good and dandy. And you know what's about to happen here. I don't know if you remember this.
I remember this because I get somebody with a javelin, I think, and then I go in that way.
Yep. Because you're looking at a Sigma shield at like 25 meters, right? It doesn't feel good as an Orisa doing that, right? So you're like, hey, I've got some brawl, I've got some HP, I'm gonna get up and close and personal. And so if you look at this here, if I'm like an Overwatch League coach, all right, I'm frothing at the mouth right here because this looks tight. This is really good, because what in theory could we do off of this setup?
I mean, we have multiple angles, right?
Right.
So we can push meet at the same time. Yeah.
Right, we could push. You put the pincer, you skip the crappy Sigma that you have to worry about. You force Suzu, you force TP, you force Lucy attention, you force Sojourn attention. The Sigma also turns around. But I want you to not actually take your eyes away from you. I want you to watch Jay, Custa, and CarQ.
Okay.
Tell me what the issue is here.
I mean, I'm just kiting them back. I need to go in.
You are, but also what should they be doing?
They should be flanking at the same time. Yeah. So I should.
Right. So as they're chasing you here, they are totally naked to being shot in the back here. We even have speed boost on these guys. We could run these guys all the way down.
Yeah, I should just meet them in the middle.
Somebody will die.
Yeah.
Somebody will die before your fortify ends on their end. It's going to happen, right? With what you've already done. The promise is it doesn't happen. So this is where we're really struggling with taking these off angles, is that we lose our communicational connection between the two of us, and one of us goes in and then the other one dies or so on, and that really starts to screw us up. And I think that there's another way to look at it is kind of what we do on our first point attack here as well.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's good.
So, and I want you to try and apply this as much as you possibly can, because I want you to look at how they approach this, right? Because we're thinking, let's rotate, let's push, let's stay together as a unit here.
Yeah, I remember this.
Right? And so we're going to rotate up to the top, all right? And that's not necessarily a terrible idea if we have the space, but look at how they approach it. Pretend you're coaching Team Blue here.
I'm watching.
All right? Wait, is this the fight? No, this is the one where Apply gets dunked on. It's this fight here. Okay.
Okay, yeah, actually, I'm going to pause before that, too, because I remember that, too. The first time I went to go take the high ground, I'm like, I don't need to go up there. The second time, I think we made the call, let's all go get high ground, and then I went up there, and I'm like, what am I doing? I don't even need to be here.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a good point, because they're doing what we need to be doing. Do you see how, like, their Sigma's free, so he deepens, right? And so there is a push here, but it's a push from, like, two different directions.
Yeah, we've basically created that because we don't have the other angle main. So, like,
Exactly. So I guess this is like a good example of, we need to play this differently. You needed to hold the space on main and let your DPS split off. But it's a good reminder that this is really well played from them.
I agree.
This is kind of what we want to look like with our pushes. If we're going to be taking angles, we don't necessarily have to take an angle and just AFK. We can take an angle and push. We can take an angle and push, and we can do that with Zarya, we can do that with Orisa, we can do that with Sigma, we can do that with Winston. It does not matter what composition that we play. We can synchronize those pressures, and you see it again here, right? We're going to try and rotate as a unit. Again, we get bullied out, and again, you see the push here from Kiriko Tracer, from Sigma. That's actually like a three-way push. Like, it's miserable for us in there. So we ended up figuring it out, but that's ultimately, that's kind of like what our pushes want to look like. And I want to show you, I want to jump ahead to defense here, actually, because the same thing is going to apply. Now, we've talked about Orisa. Briefly, we've talked Sigma briefly, but this is where it also applies to Winston as well.
Winston's like one of my weakest tanks, so it's a good to learn off the timings. Not mechanically, just like what I'm doing. Yeah.
Exactly. So all I want you to do is I want you to ask yourself, how does the timing of this engage look?
Okay, I'm watching.
For each fight. What do you think?
They're first, and then second. Our team's backing up. I'm going in. So unless Supply can, unless Supply can time with me. Yep.
Are you doing something while they're doing something? Is the question.
I mean, essentially, I'm keeping their Sojourn out of the team fight.
And the Lucio.
Right. And then we're counter beaten back there. So yeah. Yep.
You got it. This is really good from you. I hope you know that. So it's a little bit, this fight feels bad because we actually get stuck here. And then miraculously our beat saves it. But regardless, you did this is the kind of stuff we're looking for. This is the kind of stuff we're looking for. Because this is how you're creating a controlling space. You're going, I'm going to cash in I'm not with my team here, but I'm doing something at the same time as my team, creating pressure that's allowing us to live. And our backline is not AFK like they were on the flashpoint first fight, right? Yep. All right, so nice job. Thumbs up. Looks good for me. What about here? You see the issue?
Well, yeah, I need to go back to my team. Yeah.
Well, not necessarily.
Or health pack, right?
Not necessarily.
Okay,
what about the mistake? I think is here.
Oh, when I peek the angle. Yeah, sorry. I don't even see I'm peeking the angle there. I thought it was on the second floor.
Right.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
Right. This is where
no one can see me. Yeah.
Right, exactly. You want to be patient, like wait for my team to actually get in a position to do something.
Yep, that makes sense. Yeah, I see that now.
And then apply the pressure at the same time, right? It's this right here.
Yeah.
Right?
So I'm just like
losing your HP.
I'm just going down. I'm not even thinking about my teammates at that point. I'm just it's almost like ranked solo at that point. And now they're forced to save me, and then that puts them out of that's easy. That's easy to see from that point of view. Yep.
It's really simple. Now, like I guess the question for me here is this. There's two ways to approach this. Okay, this could be a communicational issue where you need to communicate better, like when you're going in or when you're going out, or this could be you need more awareness of when and where your backline is. It could be both.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I feel like knowing where the backline is going to be needs to be communicated on both sides. So I need to let them know what my plan is, and I also need to know what they're doing. So that's kind of where I would probably improve on that. I also think in these situations too, apply and eyes timing can be like we're like a second off. If we do it right, we'll be in a good spot every time.
I agree. Okay, sounds good. All right, let's reset the next fight though. Okay, so let's check this one here again. We're gonna have a split. We got Sojourn on an off angle. We got you here. That's fine. We don't have to be grouped up. We just have to be synced. So Winston dives.
Yep.
You match the Sojourn on top with Bubble.
Yep.
What do you think? Could have been earlier. Could have been better. Were there more opportunities missed out? Could you have been pressuring?
That's what I'm looking at right now too. So our supports are on bridge. Our Sojourn and Kiriko. I mean, I can just keep pushing in on the Kiriko Sojourn and then just keep. And also on top of that, I think, and this is where I love to know the timings and like what we can clean up on, because I guarantee you, and I don't remember this specifically. I guarantee you, my hesitation there came from the play prior. That play where I fell down. So like that's where like now I see it from that point of view. It's like I don't need to change up my. I don't need to change up how I play there. I need to change up the angles so my teammates can see me, and that way I can...
Exactly.
Yeah.
You made a mistake, and it made you feel like, oh, I did the wrong thing, but it wasn't the wrong idea. It was just the wrong time.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that makes more sense when you see it from the overhead, too, because like I can see the hesitation I have there, when in reality, if I do the same thing I did the first time without LOS in my supports, we're in a good spot.
You got it. 100%.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep going here. We're just going to keep skipping through second point.
Yeah, it's no worries. Yeah. I'm learning and absorbing all of it, so...
Now you can see the problem here immediately.
Yeah, I'm just too deep.
What's happening on your backline right now? Zero, right? Like absolutely
they can't help me there. Even if I force out, I think and I know why I'm doing the play, but I can see why it's not going to work regardless, because there's not going to be.
Yeah. Because the thing is it's not just that they can't help you out, because the way that your Sojourn helps you might not be through healing you, right? It might be through trading with the enemy monkey, so at least it's a 50-50.
Yep.
This isn't a 50-50. This monkey can just chill. He's going to wait for you to get forced out, and then he's going to go in, and you're going to sit there and be screaming for healing while you're watching your backline die.
Yeah, I can see it too, because I know exactly what I'm trying to do there, which is the force of the cooldowns. But then and this is where I also need to get better at something. I don't know like the one-on-one zapping timing. So like I go in there at 89%, I get 6% L charge, and then the play I envisioned
I got you.
Is not good. Yeah, it's not going to happen.
100%. Yeah. 100%. All you need to do is look at the HP of the monkeys right here, and really both teams, to tell you what happened. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't want you to think about forcing cooldowns as like a priority. It's more about when do those cooldowns need to be forced. When do you need to control that Sojourn? When do you need to control that Kiriko? Because we've had a couple fights here where you've nailed it. You've forced the slide, you forced the amp, you forced the Kiriko to TP, and so on, at a really bad time from there. They did not want to hear it. But this, you're not forcing cooldowns because it's by yourself.
Yeah, even if I do force out the Suzu, they're going to go 2 feet to their side, and I'm just going to get rolled anyway. Yeah. Yep,
and you see what ends up happening is then Karki goes, oh crap, I got to help this guy out. Now we're popping Kitsune, but because they're not even engaged in the first place.
Yeah, it's the chain effect of that. Yep. Yeah,
I got you. Chain effect, exactly. Okay. And then from here, things kind of devolve. Nice little bit of primal edge there. Well done. And then again here, same one more time, right?
Yep.
Just to beat you over the head with it, right? Look at your back line. Where do you need to force cooldowns in these guys? Like
either
up, either you want to hold
up on high ground or middle of the road. Because if I go anywhere behind there, if they're not set up on the roof I'm on, then it won't be anything.
You got that's it. If your team is here, you could hold this here, but
they're
not.
And if they're not, there's no follow up. So even if I get any of the value, I mean, maybe I get lucky and like. Get a Kiriko, but there's no value in that. Like it's a risk reward play that is not even worth the risk.
You got it. And you got it. And then obviously like you're just basically 1 HP, right? And everyone's chasing you and it freaks out and just tosses the fight overall. I think that's going to be the big thing for you. And I want to go ahead and let's keep going here. So we've talked a lot about the timings of the things. I want to look a little bit at Rialto if that's cool with you.
Yeah, go whatever. I don't care. I mean, it's all of it helps me.
So let's see if we can marry the two things together. Can we marry these off angles and can we marry the timing at the same time? It's a little bit easier with the dive tank because it's a little bit clearer about when and where you should.
Oh yeah, this one was a doozy. I know
this one was a doozy. This one was a mess, right? So you tell me, what do you see here?
Well, I'm trying to look where I'm at in the map.
Positionally, strategy-wise, what are you thinking?
Okay, so when I see this, I see that our Sojourn isn't even in a line of sight yet. I see Karq's halfway in between. I don't have the Tracer on a setup timing yet. Cuss is taking a 1v1 against the Tracer, and I'm over here at a small doorway on the opposite side.
So a little early.
Yes, way too early. Right? Yeah. This is just impatience.
Now, let's put the timing side of things to rest for just a second. Let's talk about your positioning here. What is your advantage as Orisa? What are you going to provide to this team that's going to help us win?
Creating space. So I'm just like...
Okay, on what? With what? Doing what?
Javelin spin, javelin, just any of those. My gold is going to be used for me personally.
Perfect. Yeah. Perfect. Okay, so where should you be to create the most amount of space?
Probably where Cuss is at, unless we have a strategy to go left side. Yep.
Okay. Now this is where we could start to get saucy with our splits,
or high ground where reply is.
Yeah, you could start high ground here.
Yep.
Drop, let our Sojourn Kiriko hold high ground, and then you're on ink ground on point.
Yeah, I need to get better at just like default and high ground on like a map like Rialto, because I have that ranked brain. You know what I mean? So like it's so much of like just sitting there and spamming corners, like because no one takes high ground with you. So in these scrims, I need to be a little bit more proactive on taking those parts of the high ground and just being probably 5 seconds more patient. I think sometimes I have an idea I want to do, and then like I communicate it, but I don't like do the next level of communication to verify we're ready. So that's
sure, like syncing up that timing, right? Exactly. Now the funny thing about this is that you were being a little bit critical of like what you were doing, but I actually think what you did actually ended up being pretty cute here. Like you get a little bit of pressure on that Kiriko, you force a teleport, you got a nice angle here. You're just basically playing a turret character. This is great. Like this is versus this composition, you could do this kind of crap, right? Like you put pressure on this Monk, you put pressure on this Lucio. Again, the problem just came down to the timing because now we're ready to rotate and
I'm already there. Yep. And that's what I'm. It's like a slight timing issue on me where I just need to be like I need to like almost count to 3 sometimes. Like not like 3 to my teammates, but count 3 to myself.
I agree 100%. Now this is something that we talked about briefly at the end of the scrim. Let me spitball an idea for you here.
I'm watching it.
Here's what I'm thinking, all right? I don't think we want to rotate as a group here. I think if we're here, great, nice job. But I don't think that we can group up as 5, like run like a Ramontra, Reaper, Moira comp and run down a target. I think what we have to do is we have to take some sort of an off angle here and utilize the fact that you're pretty much, once you're full, you're pretty tanky to just rotate and play turret.
I was just going to say, I think I can just javelin spin over to where the Lucio and the Sojourn are at. And then now they're caught out and they can't kill me in time because I'm Orisa, right? I have that survivability.
You got it.
So if I wait like about probably 2 or 3 seconds here just to make sure I'm at decent HP, go across, hold high, and then I can also be the one to take the cart so my teammates can use the map control.
Yes, and you can even play underneath the high ground here to just shoot the monkey, avoid the Sojourn, avoid the Kiriko, just shoot the monkey.
And if they die for me, my teammates are in a good spot. So that's it. And I'm Orisa. I also have my ult too, so like I don't even have to worry about if I don't have gold. Actually, it looks like I had the idea of going there, but I
Yeah, well, the funny thing is I actually don't know if it's necessarily your mistake here. I want this to be more of like a team educated and kind of like we understand what we're trying to do here, because what ends up happening is we get the wrong idea. We're thinking, let's group up as 5 and rotate in the open. But now the funny thing is like, do you see the angles they have at us now? Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, and now we took a powerful position and we just left.
We need to keep the team there.
Obviously,
we gave up the position and to go just for the card.
We gave it the position, right? So whether we're pushing, whether we're holding, whatever the case may be, we got to be on the same page. We got to be in the same timing. And I think this is where you need to be a little bit more comfortable with. It's okay to be by yourself as long as we're on the same page.
I was gonna say I think that also is just gonna be on me to kind of set that tone as a tank to begin with, because then my teammates will know I'm doing that stuff to begin with, and they don't have to even think about going there. Because we've all been ranked players for a long time now. You know,
course,
so it's like,
of course.
even though we've all played at, at high levels with stuff, it's like we're so used to ranked that like these type of like small plays. So yeah, that just means more. What I'll do in future scrims or Tuesday is I'll set the tone a bit more so teammates can expect me to be in these spots, and then it will be a lot easier. Yep.
100%. I think just more than anything else, just being comfortable with experimenting a little bit with it, because like this stuff takes time to not only understand but be able to do comfortably. So,
I can say
even a situation like this, right? Even a clear situation here, right? Like where like you don't necessarily have to dive here. We could just shoot this monkey here. You could be like, all right, where do you guys want to play? I'm gonna take a turret position and just shoot stuff.
Yeah,
that works too. Let's
If I recall, I think during that comms we committed to a play, and I think sometimes we need to also be ready to have like a secondary plan. If like a Winston decides to just dive in randomly, it's like, what do we do? Why don't we just kill the Winston? Like that's just a free pick, and then we go in.
Right.
How much of this?
I think this is the. Yeah, this is where we get the nice kill from a bit of a Sojourn off angle, and then you could start to walk forward here, but we could also take this time here to just keep our Kiriko, keep our Sojourn pocketed, and just let you bully the tank around while we're killing the Lucio, we're killing the Tracer, right?
It's almost like we're stacking too much as a team in general when we don't need to.
It is. Well, here's what happens is what happens is when we take off angles, we don't time things very well, and we don't really push. We just kind of stand there. And then we get mad that we're not being proactive, and then we say, we just need to start pushing, guys. And that's right. But then we group up.
Yeah. So it's like we need to
There has to be a balance there where we could push from off angles.
We make it too easy on them. They don't have to worry about. We just make it too easy on them.
I think a little bit of it is Apply's got that shot calling experience where he really likes people to group up and push. A little bit of that Overwatch 1 thing, but I think it's a little bit trickier to do in Overwatch 2 because you don't have that defense matrix covering your back on the off angles anymore, right?
Yeah. You have to. Yep. That makes sense.
It's a lot harder. Now I want you to look at our setup here. What are you thinking of our setup here? Not just you here, but just generally here.
I'm looking right now for a second.
Yeah, take your time.
I mean, so far, and I mean, I think maybe I should start on the high.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if I'm going to play right there, then there's no reason for me not to start on high, because I can end up defaulting back to that spot anyway. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
But overall, looks okay, right?
It's okay, yeah. I mean, everything in theory is, you have, Kiriko's in a good spot to heal, Sojourn has a decent angle, Tracer's on the flank, Lucio's just set there to, everything's good, yeah.
This is where defensive positioning is really important, because it means that we don't have to mess up our timing, because is there any time where are you going to get focused and our team can't help you? No,
because of the angle. That's why, I should be set up on high ground regardless, because there's no point to not.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just like the second point Hollywood, where any time that they push you, Jay and Kark, you're going to be able to help you. Cuss and Apply are going to punish them.
Yep.
There's never going to be a time where you're going to be fighting by yourself.
And if I'm on high, I can also help them get not shot at the high ground, and then they can follow up. Yeah, there's a lot there. Exactly. Yeah, it makes sense. Yep. I see that.
But I love this setup. I think this initial setup is really, really quite good.
Yeah. And if I play high, I can also deny that flank play we lost to. During remember the last match we had on WCS? Like, we lost to that flank play, and we were set up kind of, we didn't know what to do. Now, if I stay up there, I can also default to be able to help high ground or flip map. Yep.
Now, we patched you on the back a little bit here, but this is where things start to get a little hairy. You know what's going to happen here, right?
Yeah, it starts to get a bit interesting.
It's you get this, you want to push, but
I know, I remember this. Yeah.
But why is this bad? Not necessarily completely bad, but why is this extremely risky?
Because our setup was our
timing.
Well, yeah, it's our setup too. Our setup can't follow up on that because they're playing statues. So if I push them into the room, no matter how good of a displacement it is, it's not going to matter. And like expecting my Kiriko to TP in isn't worth it, because if I get my
Winston. Exactly. Yep. It's Winston all over again, right? Where the idea of what you're doing, it can work, but really Jay and Kark, you can't really do much right now. Even Apply and Cuss, it's like that. There's not even a Tracer for them to shoot, right? They barely even get the Tracer in the first place, and then unfortunately we go from there. Yeah. So I think that's good. Let's actually take a look at let's look at our defense in Hollywood really fast, because again, I just want to kind of putter around here. That's because we don't really have any specific idea of what we're going to play. It just gives you a good idea again of like, what is our defensive setup looking at? So what do you think about this? Again, is everyone committed off of this position? Are we all in a position to do stuff at the same time?
In theory, we could. Actually, no, because we've already lost the time on the back line on Winston Tracer. I'm trying to see. I want to see how the jump goes. Sure. Yeah, no. I mean, I can spam up high ground. Apply goes high ground. Custom peels. We're kind of all over the place.
Sure.
And Jay can't even take a fight. Like, see where Jay's at? Like, it's
Right, but no, wait a second. If
Yeah.
Jay is shooting Winston, that's still okay.
Yeah.
And oftentimes that's who he's going to have to shoot because the Winston's going to be looking for him.
Yep.
So what positioning here do you think needs to improve?
Probably mine.
Okay, what's wrong with yours?
I mean, it depends. Like it's all like I know what I'm doing with spamming them. I could be over there sooner, like over where I'm at now sooner than how the other Sigma was like engaging over, so I don't give them that poke time. I could be back where CarQ's at. I could be...
No, but wait a second. If you went here sooner, you might cut off LOS from where our backline.
Yeah, exactly. So it's all timing based on that too. I'm trying to think of like, this is where I'm looking at it.
And the reason your backline was positioned back here, by the way, was because the Winston and Tracer, can you see my mouse? The Winston Tracer were all the way where Custa was, like near dumpster.
Yeah, I go high then here, I think. I take high ground with Apply and Custa.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, mate.
This is
I actually think what you're doing right now is totally fine.
Fair enough.
Because you have your job is to do what your hero does well, and your hero shoots squishies really, really well, especially those hits.
If I recall correctly, too, I actually rotate back and shield up there at some point too.
Yes. You do. This is good. This is what we need you to do so that this guy could be isolated, right? The only nitpick here is I think Custa is one of the things that we worked on with Custa was finding out where he needs to be. So he'd spent a lot of time this scrim limit testing and trying different stuff. I think this is where Custa is trying some stuff and he's not quite sure. So I think maybe here he could have been with Jay maybe to be able to boot this Winston or something like that.
Or even with Apply, because you can just have the 2v.
Or with Apply, exactly.
Because I know Apply was mentioning that too, where the Lucio was always with someone, and then when Apply would try to engage. Yeah, so they're like,
it's good. But from your standpoint, this is really good.
Yeah,
we're actually good timing wise here because Apply is fighting right now. Custa is a little out of position. We talked about that already.
Okay.
CarQ is helping. Jay's fighting. You're fighting. This is great.
Is there a world though where I also go up with Apply and Custa and just dominate that high ground? Or is it not worth?
But remember, the character that you're playing doesn't need that.
Yes, exactly. But okay, I see. So there's this is probably the right concept. Now, if they're running the same comp we were running, then my rotation would be different because I want to kind of prevent them if they go up there with Sigma, etc.
Yeah,
I got
you got it. But yeah, this is perfect. Like this is, even if you don't even hit a single shot, you're keeping the pressure, you're cutting off the sight line, you're preventing that backline from doing what they want to do. And so look at what happens to your HP, Jay's HP, and look what happens to their monkey's HP.
Yep. So I'm chill.
Jay takes some damage. Jay takes some damage, but you're chill. And that Winston is getting punished.
I even force out the cooldown.
Yeah, you got it. That's it. Your job here is you don't want to stack with us, right? And you know that. But like you just need to be fighting at the same time, the same place as us.
Yeah.
And this actually goes on for quite some time. Like we're not gonna go over every single point here, but really it's just again continual pressure. Your job is to make sure that when that Winston dives in, you keep that backline alive. Now you know you're not gonna get any healing. You know you're not gonna
that I do know. Yes.
And you did a good job with it, right? Even using the cover here, that Sojourn doesn't get the position she wants. You force slide. The Kiriko has to stay with the Sojourn. She can't even follow the monkey. And again, look at your HP and look at the monkey's HP.
Yep. Good spot. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's good stuff. It's really good. You're doing a really good job of this. And this works for quite some time. And again, I want to point this out that this is a good positioning because of good timing. Because whenever they jump your backline, you're in a position to help out. And you're not getting your cooldowns forced early.
And they're not getting the cleave damage of like Winston on everybody. And like everybody gets, like I'm just taking away value. Yeah. That makes sense.
You get. I mean, even this with flux, right? Like this.
Yeah, that's gonna happen. I do it all the time.
It's gonna happen, especially versus a comp like this.
Yeah.
Even the with flux
forces Sojourn out. Yeah, exactly. So
it's totally out of this fight. Winston's isolated, so he can't even primal rage and get value anymore. You then continue to pressure Kayla out. Kayla's out. Sunshine's out. Backline is literally MIA. There's a 4v3 happening back here, and your HP is still perfectly healthy.
Yeah, that makes sense. 100%.
It's really good stuff. Did you want to look at any other points here or any other maps?
Not necessarily. I think the most important thing we looked at was really the timing base for me. At New Queen Street, I knew what was happening. At New Queen Street was I was default AFK in the cart. We were doing different things. I needed to just, it was not.
Well, this is what also was happening is we were getting frustrated, and there's nobody in our team right now that actually tilts. Nobody actually tilts, but they do. There's a little bit of we get a little grit in our teeth and doing frustrated, and this kind of stuff happens. I mean, do you see the problem here? You see where Apply is?
Oh, I know, and I think this is just a team communication. It's just like let me know, and I will not be up there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So this is the kind of thing that I want us to do. And so for you specifically, I'll take some notes in your Discord channel. I'd like you to do a better job of two things. Number one, check your backline's position so you know where you want to hold.
I talk about it all the time too.
For Orisa, Sigma, Winston, Diva, Zarya, I don't care. Oh yeah, I mean you know it, right?
Oh yeah.
And the second thing here is try to get that when we do want to push, try to get that sort of communication synced up with everybody else, and see if the situations if we could push without being stacked. More of like just go and try it and see it. I know it's not a very clear direction, but I think there's something that you can kind of experiment with. Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Any questions?
No, not really. I mean, like I said, the biggest thing for me was just covering the time-ins and like seeing that, and obviously seeing overhead point of views like that is 10 times easier. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you're doing a really good job, mate. Always a pleasure to work with you. I'll type up some notes in your channel, and then obviously if anything comes up, just message me directly.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you so much. That was super helpful.
All right, mate.
Real talk.
You're very welcome. Have a good rest of your
have a good rest of your day. See you. Peace.
All right.